It's a way to
That's
scale
like,
up.
I was just gonna say, it's such a good way to start the pod right there. What is that? Is that the ring?
Yeah, it's my ring.
Right. Yeah, we haven't
Typically, I
had one
got
for
it
a
on
little
me.
bit. I forgot about that.
Yep. Yeah, some of these false notifications are nuts, so it drives me insane. But anyways, we're back. Here we are.
That just reminded me, we had a ring when we lived in the city in Philadelphia, and if you look at the Ring app, like there's like you could post like clips and stuff, and it's like there's like a little social feed to it.
Oh yeah, yeah, like a neighborhood, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable some of the content that was posted on there in the city. Like just the stuff you would see on that was just like unbelievable.
Yeah, no, man, we get some interesting ones around here, but it's funny because the comments are anonymous, or they try to be at least.
For
And just
sure.
dude, dude, people troll on that all the time.
Dude, I'll be honest, I left a couple troll comments on some posts. I
Yeah, our joke in our neighborhood, or at least my area that I'm at, um, is that when anything happens, someone starts with the first response of like, "Is Cox down?" When Cox is our internet company, so it's always like, "Is the internet down?" It's pretty funny.
Wow,
Yeah,
what a
yeah,
name.
yeah. Oh, Cox, yeah. It's a strong one.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And
Anyway,
talking about the pod and back, if you're a loyal fan and loyal listener, you would have noticed a new thumbnail for our channel. So I think we're gonna try and mess around with thumbnails moving forward here. But I do like the new look and feel. I think Steve, you just prompted it in ChatGPT, right?
yeah. So all I did was the screenshot. I took a screenshot of our previous thumbnail, and I told him I need a new one based on this topic. And I gave it the topic of the podcast, and I'd like it to describe, in an abstract way, the podcast itself. Don't have me and Trevor's faces on there anymore, and just make sure that the text is kind of halfway there, or I kind of gave it a little bit of a design layout, and it nailed it. And so once the prompt is good, I think I shared it with you, Trevor, correct? The thread. So you have that thread to take over. And all you have to really theoretically do now is just say, now do this topic and give it the topic, and it should replicate it without glitching out too far or making design changes. It's fantastic.
So that's exactly what I did. Is I just uploaded the thumbnail you created and said change this text to, and then I gave it the title. So
Yeah. So when we have to do
extremely
one,
easy.
yeah. So when we have to do another one with like the graphics in the background. That's where you can tell it like, hey, update the graphics in the background to match the theme of the topic, and then you can get to a point where literally you just have to give it, now do this, and then give it the next title, and then it will have the same instructions. That's the one thing I've known about, like, that I've seen with kind of prompt engineering. Once you get into a good pattern, try to keep your responses really minimal. As like, now do this and give it the next chunk of response that you want it to do, so it doesn't start giving more feedback, because then it starts to like guide off the wrong way, and you're like, crap, I want to go back to the original. So that's one little pointer with prompts.
No doubt. That's it's like so nice to have that. And yeah, I don't know. We'll keep messing around with it of like updating some I don't know, some like logo pieces to it or like maybe like add our faces to it at some point. I don't know. Just like to get like a better understanding of like how the thumbnail impacts viewership and like click through rates there and everything. So I don't know. We'll keep making some adjustments to it, but I do think the new look and feel is nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure about shorts and doing thumbnails. I think you can upload thumbnails. I'm pretty sure you can, but I'm like, is that going to enhance it because it's kind of an autoplay feature, that happens. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we'll just start here, but I think it'll be nice to just kind of freshen up the way things look on the pod, which is great. So
We will keep testing.
talking
Well, dude,
about
I got
sorry, real quick on images on
yeah.
ChatGPT. Um, God, can I pull these up easily? Um, we were dying. Yeah, let me try to get this. Let me try to screen share this. This is worth your time. Let me see the best way to do this, and I'll try to articulate this as I'm going through it. So I was at a friend's birthday dinner this week, and as a joke, let me see if I can do this correctly. As a joke, Oh man, they're not in sequence. Let me see if I can just download these. So as a joke, our group of guys, we do have sometimes the same shirt, and we'll show up dinner with the same shirt on. So it's kind of funny. We're like, oh, you guys are wearing the same shirts as a joke. And so the birthday girl wanted to get a picture with all of us, but one of the guys did not have the same shirt. And so I asked
You just
ChatGPT.
uploaded it and be like, yeah, give them
I
the
asked
same shirt as
ChatGPT,
everybody.
and but what happened was like a glitch, dude. Let me see. I'm
Oh,
gonna try
nice, nice.
and not necessarily a glitch. It did update the. Let's see if I can do the window. See if this does it right. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to share this with everything going on. All right, I'll do this window, and then I can do. Can I go back and forth? Got that image. Sorry, give me that, and then guess. Okay, I can do a side by side, and I'll pull up.
Nice.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm ready to go. So let me share entire window. Okay, so this is the original image. All the guys are together with these kind of polka dotted shirts. Birthday girl looks ridiculous because like she got pajamas, like, and so she threw them on over her clothes. But yeah, our boy over here, we wanted to switch him into this shirt. So I asked ChatGPT, I uploaded the photo and asked like, hey, describe it. Can you put the guy on the far right into the same blue polka dotted shirt as us? Kills it. But then it gave everybody an alternate personality, dude. Look at the faces. It got the shirt
Oh, wow.
baller. Like the shirt worked great. It turned my head into a rugby ball.
That's
My other
wild.
buddy in the Shane Gillis uh, totally got the face wrong for our the birthday girl. But it is kind of wild when you look at them side by side. Uh, it did a great job on like the edit for for that. But then the person, you know, I was
That's
crying, dude.
wild.
I was crying so bad.
That's so good.
Uh, Another one that we did, which I won't share here.
To like
Uh,
print out that photo.
Dude, I'm gonna put it in their house, like just randomly,
It'd
just
be like
print it
such a
out and
good.
then frame it and put it out, and like they're gonna notice it later.
That's a great
Uh,
gift right
all
there.
the girls got together and did a photo, which was really cool. And I told it to basically turn it into the Muppets, and it did a great job with
That's so
that.
cool.
So it's like taking that kind of design trend style and doing it. Like you do give it like a style, like Ghibli Studios ones that you can do. That's the famous Japan animation. You can like Ghibli Studio this, and it like kind of changes it into that style and feel, and it does a really good job. But you do run into other things like policy-wise, and like manipulating images and stuff with ChatGPT itself. But it's gotten way better.
Yeah, and you could
Anyways,
imagine it's only going to get better and better and better.
dude, this is like the tip of the iceberg. This is where we were at with images. We were with text like 2 years ago. Now we're at images at that point. So yeah, it's just gonna go fast, and then video will be next, and then we'll be in a really weird world. So, anyways,
It's also like a cool like use case there is we're moving into our home this weekend here, and like uploading a picture of a room and like saying, hey, like make the walls like this color,
ooh,
or like add in like this type of table or like this type of like whatever.
like an
Um,
augmented reality feel, huh?
yeah, and it's like really good. It's like really really solid there, especially if it's like a simple thing of like just change this wall's color or something like that. That's like a really cool way just to get a better sense of like how it would look and feel. And I can imagine if you're like an architect that like puts together mocks for building designs and all that stuff, what a game changer this would be for your business. Because
Well,
my
I
aunt
guess
actually runs her own like architecture. I don't even know what would be considered like architecture studio or whatever. Like they'll bring her in and she'll design like medical buildings. So like somebody will buy like an office space and then they have to turn it into a medical office. And there's certain requirements of like, I don't know, what you need for it to be like medically approved building.
yeah.
And I know like just designing that stuff and like the layouts like take that's a huge chunk of what you're doing. So if that could be drastically decreased timing wise, like you could probably just take on way more clients, more projects, etc., where that would just be so helpful.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the technology right now, from what I know, like augmented reality, they'll pull out your phone and then it'll layer on top of what it has, what it sees, and you can like, oh, put the desk in the room, etc. But what's stopping it from doing real time data analysis where it ingests the stream of the video and then changes it to be whatever you want it to be? So you'd be like, because I'm thinking like more of like when I'm on ChatGPT and the voice one, and you can share your camera with it. And so why can't it just then take that, have a split screen, and it's like, oh, hey, can you change the wall to pink now? Okay, I want a darker brown, a little lighter, a little lighter, and you can literally see it real time doing it. I think we're not that far away from having that experience where it's no longer augmented reality; it's like ingested reality into feedback of it all. Does that make sense?
No doubt. Yeah. And that
And then
would
if you could do
be,
that on your phone, that would be amazing because you're kind of just looking and staring at the same time. But then if you really want like the crazy immersive experience, you take that same experience and you jack it into a VR headset and you're in the room with it all completely, and it has a spatial awareness. So you can literally go walk up to the table of the kitchen dining table of where you're at and kind of see it, or like you're in the kitchen and you're like, this is the view from over here,
no doubt.
like, and that's where it's like, well, maybe we're already in it.
For sure.
That was
And,
developed.
yeah, definitely. I know that Jaden Daniels, the Commanders quarterback, he's a rookie this year, and he got some press there. He uses like a VR headset um, for his prep for each week. So like he can see like different. So like obviously like you're like watching film, you could put
Yeah,
on a
yeah,
VR
but
headset and then get different defensive looks in preparation.
that's a
Um,
huge difference because normally when you're videoing tape, it's that top down. You're not going to get the height of your linemen. You're not going to see how the fucking defensive end is doing
yeah,
this kind of tell that comes around or what kind of blitz package is. That's super smart. Interesting.
it just makes me also think too, like all of those use cases, how everyday people would use them, and like just fun stuff of like the images that you're talking about. If like we're at this point where like AI is eating like all of the world's energy, if we're then going to like all these other use cases that are like way more energy intensive and like easy for people to do, and like I don't know how it's all going to get powered eventually here is going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. I'm sure it's going to work itself out and like whatever, like there's going to be efficiency gains and but it's just interesting because it's like way more use cases means way more power and energy needed, and how that's going to pan out, it's going to be quite interesting.
Yeah, I know people have kind of raised the alarm for that, so we'll see. I'm sure the smart people will figure out the solution for that, especially if there's a demand behind it. So, um, yeah.
Well, I got talking of AI, I got like a topic here for us. Let me share my screen.
Yes, sir.
I want to get your thoughts, and I think we've been chatting a good amount about this. I got to do share screen. Dang it, dude! I'm like using like Riverside is desktop and not the Chrome. I can't share my screen. All right, I'll just chat through this. Um, all right, so these were kind of newer stories that are just or newer topics that are announced. So we're recording this on Thursday, May 15th. So a couple of these that dropped this week that I think they all kind of like interconnect, and
Sure,
curious to
let's do
hear
it.
your thoughts. First one, is
Are you sharing
reportedly.
your screen or no?
Now I'm just going to read these articles real quick.
That's fine. Yeah.
I got to like update mine. I think that I'll add these in the show notes though. So Google's reportedly planning to unveil a Pinterest alternative at I/O 2025. So that's one announcement is essentially Google's is going to release some type of like image platform similar to Pinterest, which makes tons of sense because they have absurd amount of images uploaded on Google already, and I'm curious to see like what that looks like. And I know years ago they tried like Google Plus and like some type of social that kind of flopped.
You mean
So
Google Wave?
so it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. But an article was pretty interesting because it did state that Google's been losing searches and homework and math from ChatGPT. A company executive told the court during a hearing related to a previous court decision that the company maintains an illegal monopoly in search. While those queries don't typically generate ad revenue, Google knows that it's inevitable for the company to lose earnings from ads for commercial inquiries, giving users a more interesting way to search results that AI couldn't provide through a new feature or new product could help Google retain revenue from advertisements. So Google's mentioning a potential release of like a Pinterest like platform, probably because we're like, hey, search revenue is going to get impacted. The second thing to note here is Google tests AI mode in search and Google campaigns, which is essentially like you could toggle on and off a button that's like, hey, get it into AI mode, which, if we're being honest, is like just a way in which to give Google some more control over your campaigns and like swap in which landing pages it thinks it's going to work best, swap in new copy, add broad match keywords, etc. So like you're giving Google way more control of the campaign kind of management there. And then the third story is Perplexity partners with PayPal for an in-chat shopping experience. So now you'll be able to check out all within Perplexity LLM using either PayPal or Venmo. So I think all three of these are interconnected in the sense that we are heading towards a world in the advertising space that attribution is just going to be extremely difficult to figure out. And the diversity of options in the marketplace is only going to get more and more. Google's obviously releasing this platform, or potentially is going to do so. You know, expanding an AI mode with like handing over the reins to Google, and then you're going to have all of these platforms have the ability for you to like shop in an LLM and check out in an LLM. I think that's one theme that we've talked about recently is like tracking this stuff and tracking success, especially like in the agency game. If you're doing like generative AI SEO or anything along those lines, um, I don't know. It's just going to get really, really difficult to track all of these things. And I think there's going to have to be some like directionality of like, hey, sales are up, leads are up, business is up. Let's keep doing what we're doing. So I thought those were three interesting stories to highlight here that kind of connected.
Yeah, no, interesting. So, did you say in that process that Google said that math queries were down?
Isn't that so interesting? So they said in the court hearing for their current case that a company executive told them that they've been losing searches in homework and math from ChatGPT.
That makes a lot of sense. That's probably like the first impact, but like they said, it doesn't really make them money, per se. But hold on a second, it does make them money because it might not make them direct search ad click revenue because people aren't clicking on ads for like whatever. What is this program? This question I'm throwing in here. But on the display side, a lot of those math websites were part of like the Google display websites. You know,
I was literally just going to say the display network right
like
there.
there is some residual that they would be impacted. Like they're not sending as much traffic to the sites that are part of their ad network. Hence, monopoly. That's where the Google Ad Network needs to get kicked off of it. That's where I think they were going to, which I mentioned, I don't know, last podcast or next. So that's interesting about the math. It makes sense. I can see it. I've done it already for like some of my kids' homework stuff. Like, hey, can you explain this theory to me on this and that? Like Google wouldn't do that well at it. So that makes sense. The whole image search or Pinterest competitor, I remain skeptic because Google is horrible about promoting their own products. They've never really done it well. They've never really integrated it well. Point in case, sure, you talk about Google Plus. There was Google Wave before that. But I think we talked about it the last couple podcasts. And I think even Shamoff brought it up on the All In podcast. Like, dude, they have Gemini. They've done a shit job promoting it. Like, horrible, as far as
Totally.
getting it out to the public. So, adding a Pinterest layer tool in there, go ahead and launch it. I just don't think they're going to be able to market it that well, and I don't think it will be as a success. So that's the kind of my other take on that. And then the other item that you talked about was you said they were testing out some of the AI search function. Is that right?
Like the AI mode.
Yeah. Is that AI mode for actual ads though, right?
Yep. Like for
Yeah.
Google ad campaigns. Yep.
So once again, just like PMAX or anything else, I think it's one of those scenarios where it probably could be beneficial as long as it has really clean data signals. The moment it gets some funny data signals, like a fake PDF download or bot traffic coming through, it's going to ruin your campaigns drastically. Potentially, where it's optimizing for a false positive, and it would be very dangerous to do so. And I think that's the risk of all any AI bots or anything like that or process, and where human quality control needs to step in general, is that's where AI's weakness is that they get those false positives where like they think it's a strong signal and then they go ape shit on it, and then it's like, oh, actually those are garbage leads.
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, so you have to be very, and like what else is going to get involved to qualify that? Another AI system of quality control? I don't think so. I think humans interventions will have to be a part of it to really fine tune it. So maybe that kind of more of a fine tuning operator.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be at the point where like you got to be extremely careful if you're in a lead gen situation to use Performance Max because it can just run up just spam form submissions all day long unless you give it the right signals.
I feel like it's a very similar approach, or at least goal, that the whole optimization score that they introduced into the accounts. We get contacted by reps all the time, like, "Hey, you need to improve your optimization score.
It's the
Go to
worst thing ever.
Broadmatch." And it's like, okay, if I hit apply to all those things and trust you, could it work? Maybe if all the
No.
signals were positive. But what's going to happen is your cost per click is going to go out the window, cost per acquisition. We all know that. And so, what I think they're doing, a lot of these optimization scores where like it's opt in, like, yes, let's do this. They're just putting it behind this. It's AI bot time. Let's let the AI system do it. So I remain highly skeptical of that. And I think they're just trying to figure out another way to generate revenue, because the reps that they have calling people, I don't think they're doing a good job. I think the news is out on those people that they're not really trying to help. They're just trying
That's
to.
one thing that I've been thinking about as well is like all of these updates to just like the industry in general. If Google's like, hey, trouble's on the horizon here for our money printing machine that is search ads, why is their customer service so awful? I just don't get that. I don't understand that. Like there's the
Margins, maybe.
the amount of emails that I get from reps that are like, this is great. Like this doesn't make sense and this is not. If you work in this game, in this agency ad game, you've gotten contacted by reps out of nowhere, and it honestly could like just create such a headache for your client. Because then like you have to get on calls with these reps, and like some have no idea what they're talking about, and then they get off your account in 2 to 3 months, and then you get introduced to another one. You need to do another kickoff call. Like the whole experience is so terrible. I don't understand it. I guess it is a margin thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's very confusing to me that Google's like such a, you could argue like the greatest business of all time, but their customer service is probably the worst of all time.
Yeah, there was a thread leaked years ago, of these customer support reps where it's hilarious. You remember? Did you ever come across it? It was like leaked audio of
No.
an internal, like, it was one of their call networks, and it was being recorded, but it was like an internal conversation between two coworkers. And it was like right before or after this guy got on a call. I think it was before. He's like, "Oh, I can't wait to get these guys to pay. We're going to change some things on their accounts. They're going to pay so much more money. I'm going to get that commission. It's going to be awesome. They don't even know what the fuck's going on, etc." Because they were getting paid based off like, "Hey, more ad spend, you get a cut of it." And I still think that is the case. So that's the intent behind it. But there was actual like phone evidence call
Jeez.
recording of it, which is
It's like not
hilarious.
surprising at all. That's like
No,
not
man.
surprising at all to hear that.
Google Rep. What would I search? What would I even search for that? Google Rep. Um, audio leak.
Yeah, because you got to think like out of all the recommendations that are made, it's like enhanced conversions, and then it's like let's add broad match keywords. Up, let's go into your, auto apply suggestions. Let's automatically add new headlines. Let's automatically expand the search partners network. Let's automatically do ad extensions that are created. And it's just all this automation stuff that just gets you junk placements and just gets you to spend more.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Oh, funny. I just saw a thread on Reddit. It was like I was fired as a Google rep because
Boy,
I clicked on that. God, I don't know where's that. Dude, this is such an old. This happened in like 2015. It's probably buried in search results. I'm not gonna be able to find it. But it was leaked audio. It was unreal.
I mean, it makes total sense. I remember not too long ago it was leaked, and some of the emails were leaked from the um, I don't even know what it's called, the anti competitive trial or like whatever trial that they're currently under Google.
Yeah.
That there was some communication between like the sales team and um, I guess engineering team, but essentially it was like, hey, we're getting closer towards like the end of the year, and like we have some like revenue targets to meet. Like, is there anything you can do with like cost per clicks to get those up a little bit, and then also just adding more ad inventory. So they have shareholders that they're trying to meet their expectations, and like they control that whole page and like cost per clicks and what ads appear and everything. Like it's pretty clear that they could have some foolery there to help increase in profits. That's like no surprise.
Yeah, there's this dude. I'll send you this thread. It's this guy. It's like Google Ads. I don't know how true this is, but it's like I was fired as a Google rep because I refused to lie about the automatically applied recommendations, which automatically changed your account. But Google saw that as a missed opportunity. I refused to force struggling business owners to increase their budgets. Google saw that as a failure to achieve. What was the other one on here? There's a bunch of them on here. I refuse to pitch the broad match keywords when exact match were bringing in keyword results. Google saw the lack of motivated to expand accounts to improve them. I don't know how true this is, but it's all the things that we kind of like resonate on.
Oh, for sure.
Let me put this in the podcast link so we have that, so I don't forget.
And
Oh, and then the other thing about perplexity,
yes,
they're going to integrate basically a checkout process in there. How do they
PayPal,
ingest the products? How do we know
PayPal and
it's
Venmo you could
accurate?
pay by.
But how does it connect to like the vendors? Like they're going to go out and buy it, and like how is it going to purchase through there? Like Google Merchant feed, you need to have like an opt-in feed. Like that's where like you can do like in Google Shopping, you can check out through Google Shopping. It's connected and sent out. So how is Perplexity going to make like, hey, I got an order. How does that work? I'm sure that maybe they make a connection there. Maybe you got to provide it with a product feed. I thought I saw maybe an LLM working with Shopify. Was that them?
It might have been. Dude, I didn't even think about that though. Like that's such a good call because it's like if they're not going to get to your website, how are they then checking out? And they did mention in the article that PayPal is going to handle like all the customer service. So they're going to handle like the processing, the payment, the shipping, all of that stuff. That's not going to fall on Perplexity. That's going to be a PayPal thing. But that is such a good call. Is like how do they then just actually purchase product if it's not. So I don't know, maybe there is, to your point about like Merchant Center, maybe there's a similar feed functionality to each one of these LLMs,
Yeah, interesting. I'm not sure
which
if that.
honestly I feel like presents such a good opportunity for people like us. If you're in like this agency space, that is such like your first mover to one of those platforms, you just connect to like a feed or whatever,
So it looks like they're going to
probably see
integrate
good
with.
results.
It looks like it's going to do platform integrations with Shopify, which makes sense. They gotta merge in somehow, or you got to give it a shop or a feed. So okay, it's another place for someone to ingest and purchase. I still think there's I don't think it's going to be gangbusters where people will go to Perplexity to do their purchasing.
No, not yet. At
Just like
least that would
Google,
take
it's
some
like Google
time.
Shopping. Like how many people actually go through Google Shopping to buy? They do research through it, but then they click through the website and buy. I don't think there's a huge friction of like going to someone's website and buying the product versus like, oh, I'm gonna just do it within this app. If anything, I find it a little bit like disconjointed in my own experience. Like even like the Shop app, you can buy directly through the Shop app itself, not Shop Pay, Shop that. Like they have their own app, and you're always like, am I gonna get the product? I don't know. It's like it's connected.
That's kind of what I was thinking. It's like I don't even know if I would fully trust it to work properly and like just go to the
Yeah,
site and buy it.
it's a little different like TikTok Shop where it's more like that viral push of pushing products through. I mean, sure, e-commerce brands, they can stand up a store in Instagram and Meta, and some people purchase, but it's not high volume. You don't see it like a high volume.
No.
I think TikTok's a little bit different because that's like more different buying intent and experience. So I'm not too worried about Perplexity, or I don't think it's gonna have that big of an impact.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I think
Yeah.
it would take some time for some people to like to adopt that type of behavior anyway and do that.
Yeah, I'm sure Shopify, if they're gonna have an integration, will be just like another sales channel. Connect. Okay, cool. My inventory's there. If they then purchase,
For
okay,
sure.
I fulfill. So yeah, there's just so many changes going on. I don't know if it feels overwhelming, um, or like I guess the one part is like there's a lot coming out, but it's also I guess the most challenging thing is to try to figure out what is actually just noise and what is actual something that's going to be here 6 months from now or a year. That I think is the challenge. All these little updates here and there. A lot of the newsletter stuff that I see too from what's the one that we Stack Marketer that comes through. A lot of it's just like a bunch of feature updates. Like
It's a
there's like
lot of
new
feature
feature,
updates.
ever feature update here. It's like what's sticking, what's useful. I don't think anything is going to be like a silver bullet that's like a success for all your clients itself. Sure, it's good to be informed of where things are going, but there's just so many updates. It's kind of like, well, what's noise and what's actually impactful and then going to stick around. I just think there's a lot of noise going on right now. And then it's like truly what's impactful when announcements happen. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yep. And I think that's a good call because I think like, obviously like this is digital marketing agency type podcast, if you will. And like if you're in this space, I think um, it's obviously like easy to get distracted, but I do think no matter of all of these LLMs and updates and everything, I think you really need to have a good product and a good service and have good customer service and be responsive to your customers' feedback and then provide valuable content and then test different ads. Like I don't think that stuff's really going to change. Like your brand and how you service your customers, I don't think that's ever going to change. So like whether or not like you could purchase on your site or Perplexity or whatever, I mean, at the end of the day, you still need to have a really good brand and reputation, a really good product, and good service and good offering. So, like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of like flashy stuff in the space right now because of all the AI and LLMs. And you put it earlier of like the generative SEO is kind of like a snake oil salesman type pitch nowadays, and like totally agree. Like I think at the end of the day, like those best practices from SEO and how things were crawled probably going to have an impact and be around here moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a value to rank higher in any of the LLMs, but how you actually track that or prove that, I don't know yet. So I'm not comfortable selling that as a full blown service because everybody's search query is different. It's just different. Or like
No doubt
in
about
an
it.
organic playing field, you see it as a channel coming in, and you get an idea of what keywords, and you can kind of show the value. Otherwise, I think it'll just be predatory. That's the only problem with marketing is that there's always someone that's trying to make the quick buck on the trend, and typically it's like a predatory kind of marketing. And yeah,
And if you're listening right now, we did last episode like a Steve had a pretty good breakdown of how to rank in ChatGPT and a full conversation and like some of the insights ChatGPT gave for like weighting and like we did like probably like a 45-minute episode on the topic, and at the end it was like, I don't really know how this is a whole lot different than what SEO has been historically. Like, sure, there's some like detail changes and stuff, but like for the most part, it's pretty much the same. So couldn't agree more. I'm like, if you're out here pitching, like we have this whole generative AI, LLM optimization, it's like I don't really know if they're offering something a whole lot different.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be skeptic. I'm always open to changing my mind, though, for sure. So if there's someone out there that wants to pitch it to me and we can do a case study, I'll send you some money. I'll let you try it out, and I'll be your guinea pig, but I will be a very diligent one in that test. But totally open to change my mind. It could be something down the road
No doubt.
for it all. But I will say though, man, the like where we can get our news, like newsletters is the fastest way. Maybe LinkedIn a little bit, but like blogs are dead. Like I know we've talked about it before, but like I don't know if it's more often or not. But like I just don't see like thought leadership pieces coming out in that way or news stories, etc. It's
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like newsletters are where it's at.
I do think there's probably still some value there with blogs, but like not the traditional like once a week, once a month, like like top 10 reasons to do this or five best whatever. Like those listicle type blog, like that's donezo in my opinion. But if you have like a sick like case study or like a really cool test or point of view on something that's like authentic and valuable, I think there's probably still some value there. But like the days of having like an SEO client and you're just doing like simple type blogs once or twice a month, I don't really know how much value
Yeah,
that's bringing any
like
business.
service-based pages or target pages that you're going after, that makes sense to do.
For sure.
I would not go after the other side of that for sure. And one thing that I still see in the search results, which blows my mind, um, is when you say listicle. Um, what I will see is like even for like software companies, you could do it. Let's say it's like best accounting software. It's not the best example, but it'll illustrate the point. Like let's say best accounting software for the cooking industry or for restaurateurs, and you'll have someone that sells the software write a post that has like then competitors or maybe non-adjacent competitors, but it's like it's a listicle of like here's the top 5 brands, and maybe they're listed as one or at least number 3, and it's like trying to be an honest review of multiple, but it's like Google, how fucking dumb are you? Like,
Yeah, it's
don't you
bad.
see through this?
Yeah.
Like they're not truly trying to write what's a non-biased review, and you put it out there. Those shit crack me up. I'm like, how is that even still in the search results? I
Yeah,
think I
like
saw
there's
for
no
like
way.
best like healthcare design company or something like that, and it's like one of the people who are pitching it is there. I'm like, come on, and it's like updated 2 months ago. So it's like all these like stupid false positives. And I'm like, dude, how do you not know like what they're doing there? So there's
That's
a lot of
so
people
good.
transition to that, but yeah,
That's
yeah,
so good. All right, I think we call it there. I think
yeah, a
the
little bit of
the
a
gist
quicker
of this
one,
one
but we had to get this
is
out. We wanted to. It's important too.
for sure. And I think the takeaway is there's no secret sauce right now to rank in an LLM, and that's going to be like a game changer for your business. So, um,
Yeah, I think just keeping your ears and eyes open of kind of trends that are changing, but not overreacting to every single thing.
no
Only
doubt.
take action if you see an actual threat. Don't be flat-footed, but also don't be freaking out about everything. We'll do that.
Yes. Also, if you're still listening at this point in the episode, appreciate you. We're dropping episodes on Mondays now. Just figured it makes more sense. Start the week. Mondays at 1, we're dropping episodes and just trying to be a little bit more timely because usually Steve and I will record this on a Friday. This one's a little bit unique with the move tomorrow, so we're doing this Thursday, but we're trying to keep it a little bit more timely. So, goal is to like record Friday, send that thing on Monday. That way it's up to date as possible.
Perfect.
Alrighty, folks. It's been real.
Yep.
Episode 52 in the books here.
Getting there.
Later, y'all.